Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs.
And welcome to another edition of Inside PressBox. Once again, filling in for Stan the Fan Charles. I'm your host, Gary Stein. With some of the hottest hitters in the game, baseballs have been flying over the fences at Camden Yards all year long. This week on the show, Inside PressBox reporter Derek Watay goes inside the batting cages with Orioles hitting coach Jim Presley to find out just what's behind the power at the plate. And Oriole Park hasn't been the only place drawing a crowd around Baltimore. As of late, casino revenues in Maryland were record-setting in the month of May as the state's 4 gambling halls generated all-time highs, upwards of $70 million. PressBox contributor and gaming writer Bill Ordine will join us for a look into that rush to the tables. But lacrosse, believe it or not, is still in the air in the month of June with the Under Armour All-America Lacrosse Classic coming to Johnny Unitas Stadium July 5th through the 7th. The game's founder, Lee Corrigan, will join us here now on the show. And Lee, how does it feel to be a founder of this lacrosse game? That's pretty good.
I think it just speaks to age at this point, unfortunately.
Well, I'm glad you said it. But this is an event. I mean, it's the 8th annual, and you are the founder. So take us back 8 years, or maybe even a little longer. How did you come up with it? What happened?
Yeah, well, I had a great idea. Of course, I stole a little bit from the McDonald's All-American basketball game, and that was really the concept, is to create a moniker that really meant something in the world of lacrosse. And of course, now the Under Armour All-American, that label and that moniker stands for excellence. And so, of course, went over, met with our friends over at Under Armour and put together this whole concept for the showcase game for the senior, the best senior players all over the country, coming to Baltimore, put them in a north-south format, and let them play a great game. ESPNU covers it live. It's a great day. And then what happened, something interesting happened, and that is with the guys at Under Armour, we're thinking about how are we going to get more fannies in the seats. You can appreciate this.
Sure.
And we thought, well, let's do an underclass game, Baltimore versus Washington. And then, lo and behold, that thing just started growing and bubbling. Now we have 10 teams in the whole underclass tournament for both boys and girls from all over the country.
And that's how you grow the event into a 2 or 3 day affair.
Exactly
obviously.
right.
88, and let's just concentrate on the seniors for just a moment. 88 of the best in the country. How did they get selected for the game?
Well, our friends from Inside Lacrosse, who do nothing but this all year long. Jeff Shannon and John Gelati and all those guys over there, Ty Zanders, that's all they do is pay attention to lacrosse. And they select that senior team. And what they try to do is they try to get a good representation of the entire country, but at the same time, the emphasis is on the very, very best. And that is what the event brings you every single year.
So is it safe to say then, if the emphasis is on the very, very best, that more of the players come from the hotbeds of the game, which would include the Baltimore area as well as New York? Is that fair to say?
Exactly, it is. And of course, the lion's share of the kids are coming from the Baltimore, Washington, New York, Long Island corridor, of course. Philadelphia is making a great push. New Jersey's making a great push. Upstate New York is always very well represented. But then we got little pockets in Colorado and California and Florida and North Carolina where kids are popping out of the woodwork, and they're becoming great, great players. And we know about the growth of lacrosse, and this event has stayed right on the edge of that wave, taking it to not just from the Baltimore, Washington area, but taking it clear across the country.
And so on that note, you talk about the pockets in some of the other states, Carolina, Colorado, California, I'm sure. It's funny, I grew up in Florida. When I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s, we didn't know about lacrosse. There was no such a sport. We had no idea. Now, when I go back to see my dad, I look in the paper and the high schools have, they play and they've got the scores and everything. Are you noticing a skill level difference? Like, although the rest of the country is starting to play, have they caught up in skill level to the players that are from this area?
Yeah, in some cases, yes. Of course, the constant, consistent level of competition is what they suffer with, they're challenged with. Where in Baltimore and New York, every game in the MIA is a barn burner. It's a great game. There's great
Super Bowl,
talent on the field. Exactly. But in California, all these non-traditional markets, what you get is you get great athletes. But something came along about 10, 15 years ago, and that's club lacrosse. And Club Lacrosse have now put these kids together. I'll use the West Coast Stars as an example. They have the best kids from the entire West Coast. They get together and they form an all-star team, and they come back east here and they compete at a very, very high level against our very best teams.
All right, so let's go through the all the information. Sure. How can people get tickets, a website, all that stuff?
Your UnderArmourLacrosse.com, of course. There are tickets available. It is 3 straight days at Towson University. The 5th, 6th, and 7th. The senior showcase games are in the stadium on the 6th at 5 o'clock for the girls and 8 o'clock for the boys. But the underclassmen tournament is going on those outer fields right around the stadium complex the entire weekend long, starting Friday at noon.
So there's going to be the famous lacrosse tailgates before the games, just like they do it, right?
Of course.
I love that part. Yeah. Speak about the girls for a minute. I don't know how many people know this, but McDonough School ended up ranked #1 in the nation as far as girls lacrosse high school is concerned. I think the number was 92 at the end of the year, consecutive game winning streak. Their seniors this year that graduated never lost a game in their high school careers.
Yeah, Coach Robinson has done an unbelievable job, and of course he was one of the architects of the Mount Hebron dynasty as well.
Right.
So of course now he's over there at McDonough, and they've done an unbelievable job. Of course, Taylor Cummings slid right into the University of Maryland as an impact player right away. We have a couple other girls coming from McDonough that are participating this weekend. But, you know, women's lacrosse is exploding as well, and they, of course, have done an unbelievable job.
No, that's fantastic. Listen, you've done a great job, 8 years. Can you believe it's been 8 years now?
It's unbelievable. You never know which way it's going to turn next, but we're always working every day with Under Armour to try to continue to make this event the premier lacrosse event in the country.
No, that sounds great. I think you've done it, actually.
Thank you.
I can't even remember what the event was, if there was one before that. Lee, always good to catch up to you.
Thank you very much.
You got it, absolutely. That's Lee Corrigan. We'll be back to talk table games and a whole lot more with PressBox contributor Bill Ordine. Don't go away.
Want a great t-shirt for the female sports fan in your life? Check out the Your Turn t-shirt, available now at yourturntshirt.com.